Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. It's December 3rd. I'm gonna have to pivot. This wind is kicking up. Whoa, here we go. The temperature is probably right around 30. So it's beautiful right now. It's supposed to be like 5 below zero in the morning. So it's gonna drop 35 to 40 degrees in the next 16, 18 hours. It's a lot. The spot we're going to go to is the one we've been hunting quite a bit, and for good reason. There's a lot of deer using this. We're going up the valley, past the scrape tree to the upper end. And I've had a lot of pictures up in there now on that camera that I've got in that on the edge of that plot. Some daylight, and there's a big 8-pointer in there that's a stranger to the farm. And he's been showing up pretty regularly, but a lot of times right after dark. But I'm hoping with this temperature drop coming that these deer will come out and feed earlier. Overall, there's just tons and tons of tracks on the farm. I mean, even coming up the driveway, there's just cow trails. The deer are definitely moving towards corn right now, and that's what's in this food plot. We've got two things working against us. One is always the entry. You know, the deer can lay up on top of those ridges, and if they're in the right spot and looking in the right direction, they could see us coming in. So that's why we're wearing the snow camo. Hopefully we can disappear against the corn stalks and the snow. And the other one is the swirling. And this is a northwest wind, so it's going to be coming into the valley from over the tops of the bluffs. And if it's gusting at all, which I think the forecast calls for, we're going to see a lot of swirling down in there. It's not going to come down and just follow the contours of the hill right down through the valley. It's going to come over the top and just swirl down in that pocket. And we might have to keep the windows closed on the blind until right at the last second. I've done that before, it works. It's just a little bit of a nuisance, a little bit harder to get really nice video and a slightly bit tougher to pull off the shot because you got to swing a window open right at the last second. I think we're going to see some deer. If we don't tonight, hopefully the next 2 evenings. We've got 3 more days until the firearm season comes in here. We're going to hear from Carson in the blind. He's been on Kodiak Island in Alaska, and we're going to get an update from him today too. It's good to have him back. We couldn't kill the deer without him. Amos isn't my good luck charm. Carson is. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, the Hunt Stand app, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Archery, Muddy Outdoors Tree Stands, Stealth Cam Trail Cameras, My Outdoor TV, and Hoyt. It's about 2 o'clock, and we've been in the blind now for a while. The wind is definitely swirling up here. I went outside and dropped some floaters and checked it, and it's blowing up the valley, which would be blowing towards the northwest. But that makes sense because it comes in over the top of the ridges and then, you know, swoops down into the valley.
So will the thermals still work?
They will, as long as we don't have very much wind. You know, like that day wind that's forecast,
Yeah.
that has to drop because that will overpower the thermals.
Okay.
But the thermals will kick in if the day winds die. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. But even the odd snowflake that we see now is going up the valley. So we definitely are going to have to keep the windows closed. Unfortunately, it makes the hunt a lot tougher, but that's the price you pay. And that's one of the advantages of the blinds. You know, over just sitting in a tree, you do have the ability to do that, which will contain most of your odor. I'm not saying it's 100%. I've had it work 100%, but you got to make sure that all of the vents and all of the openings and stuff are plugged really well, and all the gaskets are, you know, fairly new on the blind. And if that's the case, then it'll hold all your scent. But let's get to your trip to Kodiak. Carson, tell us how that went and what you saw and what you did.
It was quite the adventure. It seemed like we were always battling either thick, steep terrain or rain. It was pretty wet almost every day on the trip. We had a day that we couldn't even go out. The sea was too rough. The waves were too high, and we just couldn't get the boat in there.
So you weren't staying on Kodiak?
We stayed on Kodiak and then boated out from there. We were just south of Raspberry Island, it was called, on Kodiak. So it was the north side of the island. And we figured out pretty quickly that the north side is way more rugged than the south side of the island, especially for deer hunting. So we ended up switching gears and shooting some sea ducks for the last couple days. So it was cool, though. The duck hunting was exceptional.
You hadn't planned to go all the way to Alaska for ducks, though, because you could shoot those a couple miles away.
Right. So yeah, it was a big learning curve, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're young, and those adventures are fun, and you do learn from them. Either way, you got great memories. You did it with your brother, right?
Right. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, good for you. But well, it's good to have you back. We've got some bucks here that we need to kill. You can have a late season tag, and if you don't have any place else to hunt, you can throw in here and see what you can do.
See what we can find.
See what kind of old rough and ugly bucks we can dig up.
About this big, 8-pointers.
Yeah. 5 or 6 years old. But they're great trophies. I'm telling you, I love shooting those deer.
Well, you showed me a couple 8-pointers that have showed up here, and it's like, oh, those are cool deer.
Yeah. No, they're definitely cool deer. So maybe we'll get lucky and we'll see one tonight. But that's kind of what the season is shaping up to be, unless some bucks move in.
Yeah. And
they very well could. You know, the farm has so much food, we could attract some bucks. So if that's the case, the late season could be really interesting.
that help? Not really. No kidding.
It's 4:35, which means we got about 20 minutes, roughly, of legal shooting time. Had the one small buck come in, and now there's 9 gobblers. We just sit here laughing at them. All they do is run around. There was a term for that when I was a kid. I know we're a family show, but they're playing grab ass. Definitely. One turkey will find a kernel of corn, and another turkey will come running over there and chase him off, and then he'll go run off someplace else.
Not like there's a whole cob sitting there.
I know, there's just corn everywhere. But they're pretty comical, entertaining. This last half hour is really when the bucks or the buck that we are hunting should show up. And we do have the benefit of the clear sky, so we're going to have light, especially with the snow, up until the end of legal shooting time. So I'm by no means figuring that this hunt is over. I think this last half hour is going to be when we see the action.
Was in the plot. I saw pictures of him. Yeah. He's got that Jordan buck look to it. Yeah, that's our buck. It definitely is. Is that little one? He's about 40. Yeah, 41. The big one is right at 48. He's gonna come down here, Bill. Good. 33. Yeah, that's right where he needs to be. Yeah. Still good on light. He's coming in all postured up. Yeah, he is. Yeah, this might get interesting. Do we have time? Yeah. Stay bowed up. The big one had his ears pinned back. He's gonna go pick on somebody his own size.
That 8-pointer was the buck that we came in here for. He was 50, and then he got a couple yards closer, but I mean, I've shot deer at 50, but it's pretty dicey. And even if you make a perfect shot, you still have the risk that the deer moves while the arrow's in the air. And that's a variable that you have no control over. So I've always felt like 40 and in is pretty realistic. He just never got close enough. But we did film him messing around out here, and he walked all the way down past the blind and went in behind. And then there was a couple other deer down there too, and then something spooked. I don't know if one of the deer down there spooked or if a coyote came out or what happened, but then he ran back up through the plot and he just walked off into the woods. But we're not going to take a chance with walking out of here and bumping any deer, because if we want to come back in here and hunt that buck, the only way we're going to do that is if the deer don't know that we were here. So Amos, hopefully, is on his way. He was, 45 minutes to an hour away. 45 minutes to an hour away. So he's coming back. He's going to get on the four-wheeler and then drive up in here and just clear everything out. And then we can walk out after that. But so we appreciate you joining us, and maybe we'll be back in here after this buck again tomorrow, but we're going to have an episode for you. So we'll see you right back here again tomorrow for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always dream
big.